The Tigray crisis is now spilling beyond the borders of Ethiopia. Observers feel the crisis might carry serious ramifications for the Horn of Africa region. According to reports, at least 3,000 Ethiopian refugees have reportedly fled into Sudan this week following the spread of the war in Ethiopia's Tigray to the neighboring Amhara region. The development comes as reports of renewed clashes resurface. According to the Sudanese authorities, thousands of Ethiopian refugees crossed the border last week. Majority of them fled from Amhara, bordering El Gadaref in Sudan. Majority of the refugees belong to the Kemant minority, which lives in the Amhara region, bordering Tigray. Meanwhile, the local authorities in Sudan's Kassala province said that they have found at least 50 bodies in a river between Ethiopia's Tigray and Sudan, apparently of people fleeing the ongoing war. The bodies were found in the Setit river, known in Ethiopia as the Tekeze. The river flows through some of the most conflicted areas in Tigray, where the ethnic Tigrayans have accused the Ethiopian and the allied forces of atrocities. According to reports, some bodies had gunshot wounds. The Sudanese officials have said on Monday that a forensic investigation is needed to determine the cause of death. The region has been witnessing immense turmoil since November last year, when the Ethiopian government launched military operations against Tigray forces after the latter rejected political reforms and captured army bases. Ethiopia's government in June declared a unilateral ceasefire in Tigray as its soldiers retreated ahead of a resurgence of the Tigray fighters in the region. The conflict in Tigray has killed thousands of people. It has led to mass hunger and reports of famine in the region. And our correspondent Leon Senyange is joining us from Kampala, Uganda. Leon, give us a better sense of the impact that the Tigray crisis could have on the Horn of Africa region.
Well, it's certainly one of those crises that is spiraling across the East African region and has quite huge ramifications within the region itself. Now, just to take you back, it's a crisis, like you had said, that has been going on for close to 9 months now, since November of 2020, and it's between the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the Ethiopian government. Now, Tigray is in itself and a region in the northern part of Ethiopia. About 6 million people live in that particular area. Now, 2 million are being displaced within Tigray itself, and like you had highlighted, several crossing on into Sudan. Now, the refugee crisis itself in East Africa is one of those huge ones. Uganda itself has approximately 1.4 million refugees coming through from neighboring countries, the DRC, South Sudan itself, and a few others, Somalia, Eritrea, Burundi. And that in itself has an impact on Uganda. Now, to have thousands and thousands of refugees crossing over into Sudan, that creates in itself a crisis of huge magnitude. Famine itself is beginning to bite. Access to basic commodities, basic utilities, water, food, that of course is putting a lot of pressure on the governments and the federal areas that are taking in these particular refugees. But even still, the no near end of this particular crisis is putting Ethiopia itself in the spot. The East African community is desirous of having a situation coming to an end. However, as it seems, it's not the kind that is just about to let off.
Local authorities in Sudan's Kassala province say that they have found at least 50 bodies in a river between Ethiopia's Tigray and Sudan. What more do we know at this point? Is there any confirmation that these are bodies of people fleeing the ongoing war?
Well, overall, what reports indicate is that at least 10,000 people have died through this particular conflict, but the exact numbers of the casualties is not quite there yet. Of course, communication is still one of the biggest issues in this particular conflict, with cutoffs in several areas. So finding the exact numbers of whom the casualties in the conflict itself is still a problem. So I really can't ascertain the fact that the bodies that were found in that particular area are those that may have suffered consequences of this conflict, but still I can only assert the fact that the exact numbers of the casualties from this conflict are still scanty.
Leon, thanks very much for those updates, leaving it there for the moment. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.